Hi, and welcome to Deciphering Your Offer Letter. Now that you've gotten in and you've gotten the yes, the next step is to follow up in the portal to find out if you've been given any money in the form of merit aid. And later in the year, you'll find out if you've gotten any money in the form of financial need based aid. In this webinar, we're going to show you several examples of financial offer letters so that you can have a good level of confidence when you're reading yours. So, welcome to Deciphering Your Offer Letter.
We want to make sure that your students are checking their emails. And then each school where they applied will also give them a portal, which will be they've got a website portal for accepted students, then they'll have a password and a username. So you get this award that says, hey, welcome. We're so excited to invite you to join the class of XYZ at our school. And maybe, or maybe you didn't, also get some money. So here's an award letter from 2022 that I'm going to show you right now. This is an award letter from Brandeis University. And basically, this student got this in the form of an email and later did get something in the mail. And it basically says, congratulations, you got into Brandeis and the Office of Student Financial Services, and I look forward to working with you. Here's the details. We let you in and we gave you an alumni and friends grant. That grant is worth $10,500 a year. And we want to welcome you to the school. This is an award letter. This came right after the opportunities to get in come out. And it's basically giving her or this student merit aid. That typically comes with that award letter. Now, we don't know what financial aid this student got, but we do know that this student got a Friends and Alumni grant from Brandeis. So this student was super happy that she got into this school. I think actually it's where she ended up going. But look at this. They're also saying your financial, whoops, I'm blacking it out, aid award includes a grant, which is renewable each year, but you're ineligible for need-based financial aid. So that was an example of just a basic first letter. So let's talk about the next thing that happens. So there's a difference. There's an offer where we want you to come and join our class. That's your offer letter. And they're going to tempt you with hurrying up and putting in your deposit because you're going to get better housing if you get that in early and all of those things. And we could talk through all of those things. But the bottom line is these schools run a business and they want to know that they're going to have a head in a bed as soon as they can. So pushing you to put that deposit down kind of guarantees that you've chosen them over someone else. So don't get side swayed about, oh my gosh, we're going to get into the best dorm. Do you really know which the best dorm is? We kind of don't at this part of the process. So don't feel like you need to just start spending money. As a mom, I was paying housing deposits before I even knew where she was going to go to school because I had a daughter who was very, very worried about which dorm she was going to be in. So I think we learn most by real life and then the mistakes that we made. In hindsight, I really didn't need to do that. Some schools don't give that merit aid initially with the letter. Sometimes there's a second step. I'll use Appalachian State as an example. You get in and then you have the ability to apply for a scholarship. So your student always wants to look through that portal and find out if there's something else that they can do. The second thing is sometimes if your student applied into a certain program and they got into the college, but they also got into the program, often that program may show scholarship opportunities. So you want to, once you've decided to go there and once you're admitted and you've paid, they're going to open up the opportunity to possibly apply for some scholarships that come with that program. That too, I went through as a parent and as a college consultant. So when my daughter got into the School of Textiles at NC State and she said yes, then all of a sudden a portal opened up and said, hey, here are the scholarships within that program that you can file for. Often, if it's a state school, they're all going to be more or less about the students in the state. If you're from Monroe County or if you're from this or that, big state schools like to take care of their own first and foremost, and they should. But the private schools have a little bit more money to give and a little bit wider bandwidth to see who they're going to give that to. So you always want to know and look through the whole portal. If you get in, that's one thing. Did you get money? Look in the portal. Some of you are going to look at the portal tonight and find out you got money, and you're welcome. About right now, we want to talk about the cost of attendance. I'm going to make this a little bigger on my screen. Hopefully you can see it. So it's a financial offer for the 23-24 year. And this is saying that the student has to take 15 credits per semester. Tuition and fees are $44,360 for the year, plus food, $6,400, plus housing, $6,500. If you talk to anybody on my team, they're going to say this school's around 57 grand, right? We're not going to just kind of nickel and dime and break it out. Those numbers, the two below tuition, can kind of move around depending on how much you think you want to eat and different dorm options. But for all intents and purposes, it's $57,000 to attend this school. Then this student had some other estimated costs: books, supplies, travel, and personal. They're estimating it's going to be about $4,800 a year. Depending on how steadfast you are with your finances, you can add that in or not, right? If it's close and not really worried about adding airfare in or adding gas money in, you can take this price out. I will let you know, often books, lots of times kids share, lots of times they're online. That can be a movable cost. Supplies, maybe you don't want to add that in. Travel and personal, but they're trying to give you a guesstimate. So they've broken that down. Then this particular student got a Panther Fund academic scholarship, $18,000 a year. This is a gift aid that does not require repayment. So that is awesome. $9,000 a semester. If they'd gotten any additional scholarships or grants, they would have been listed here. So it's saying they got $9,000 off a semester. So their estimated direct cost after gift aid, money you don't pay back, is $39,000 a year. So we went from 57 to 39. That's pretty good. Very exciting. Then they have the student loan options. And this is where people start to get confused. Oh, we've got a direct loan. They're subsidized. They're unsubsidized. Do we pay them back? If the 4-letter word loan is on your letter, that means you're paying them back, right? Loan equals you have to repay. It always has in the history of time, but sometimes people get confused between subsidized and unsubsidized. I'll go into that on the next example, but this particular student, because their family filled out the FAFSA, they didn't get a Pell Grant. It would say that here. They didn't get any state aid or aid from the school. It would show that here, or maybe it is at the bottom. I'll look again. But what they did do, because they filled out the FAFSA, they qualified for a very low interest loan in the name of the student. And it was called the direct unsubsidized loan, which means interest starts the minute that the student takes that money, and it accrues over time. You don't have to pay these loans until after you graduate, but it's $5,500 for the whole year. Some families have students that can put a pretty big dent in that. So they're building credit, they're taking a loan, it's out in their own name, and it's low interest. So if you took the student loan option, it took your $39,000 down to $33,620. And then the Panther payment plan is allowing you to pay the rest of the balance to the university in payments. That's kind of a cool thing. You always want to look at each school. If you can pay the school directly in payments, often you're saving a lot of interest. So dig deep into that. But again, it looks like when I'm reading this offer letter that this student is only going to have to pay $33,000 a year. But let's remember what I just shared with you. That's actually not true, because $5,500 of it was a loan they were taking in their own name. So what we need to do is back up and say it's $39,000 a year to attend this school. And then I put on my super professional hat and I say, let's make sure this scholarship / grant is a 4-year one. Is it just the first year to lure them in, or is it reoccurring each year as long as they keep a certain GPA? Just know that when you're trying to decipher a financial aid offer. And if you're on the Facebook group, you can go ahead and write them in there. Congratulations, you got into Vassar for 2027, and we're going to offer you the following financial aid award for this year. It's a provisional award, as amounts are based on the costs this year. So they're just saying if tuition goes up, it might go up. So let's look a little bit deeper into this award. I'm going to try to zoom in because I can't see now that I'm old. So again, the budget is room tuition and fees, $64,800, room and board, $16,560, for an all-in cost of $81,360. Times that by 4, I can buy a house. Wow, it's a lot, but what a great education you get at this particular school. Now let's just take that 81,360 and just crank it up a little bit more with your indirect costs. These aren't something that you're going to pay for the school, but they're saying your books and your personal expenses might be around 2,200, and travel 380. Where do they get that? Did the person drive? If they're from California, their travel's not 380. So that's why these are kind of incidentals and indirect, and they don't put it into any financial aid, but they want you to be ready if you are budgeting to know. It's funny, it looks like it costs less to hang out at Vassar with your books and your personal expenses than it did at the other school. So now this student comes down where the cost of attendance, COA, is $83,990. Well, the parental contribution, $56,750. Who knows if these parents can really afford that, or if they really, saved that much, but that's what the school is telling them based on filling out the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. So they're saying that they looked at the analysis of the parents' financial strength and ability to pay. And the student contribution also incorporates a modest sum from summer work and a portion of student assets. So they took the FAFSA, which we recommend everybody fill out, but this school also asked for a CSS profile. It's a completely different talk, but it's another way of looking at your assets so that they can assess what they think that you can afford. It's interesting. The government always thinks I can afford way more than I actually can. So they're saying this is what they want the family contribution to be. That's the bottom. And look at, we started with 83,990, really 81,360. And they're going to break it down. This particular student got a Vassar College scholarship of $18,915 a year. Yes. They also got a federal direct loan subsidized, which means the government is going to give the student a loan in their name. And all the time that they're in college, the government's going to go ahead and pay for that interest. And then payments start within a certain amount of time after graduation. What we suggest to our families is have these students pay a little bit along the way. Just chip that down, right? So they don't walk out with that loan, but it's going to be low interest in the student's name. And again, the last one looked at was unsubsidized. This one's subsidized. Government pays the interest. And then they gave the student work study, and they said the student can probably earn about $3,000 a year work study. Note to you, that money goes into the student's pocket. It doesn't come off of tuition. So when you're a work study student, Adrian, can you tell me, do you agree? Like, they get the best jobs on campus, right? Because it's a balance of working and studying.
Yeah, they do. They get some really good jobs. And so, it could be working in shops or stores, but it could also be doing maybe working with professors, getting paid through research work. It can vary quite a bit.
So you need to be careful. The only real scholarship grant, right, non-payback in this offer is $18,915, right? So they made this financial award based on a couple of different things. You always have to verify it, but this is a different type of award letter. But what I do think is positive that you could take from this is we took a school that was $81,000 and knocked $18,900 right off the bat, because the student presented themselves well. So not only did they get in, they presented themselves well enough to get that scholarship. And that, kudos to this student. Really, really well done. Is that the end? No, it's not the end. To me, when I look at things like that, I want that student to get all of the offers from all of their schools and play them off of each other. Some school gave me a little bit more money. The total cost of attendance is X. We want to come to your school, but this other school gave us a little bit more money. That's something that we really help with in the spring with the families that we work with. It's called negotiating more need or more aid or more scholarship. But I'm going to show you a way you can do it yourself too, and have all of your guns behind you to come in and feel or more scholarship. but I'm going to show you a way you can do it yourself too, and have all of your guns behind you to come in and feel. So it's not over till you write the check and then you're done, right? He who cashes the check wins. You have until May 1st to decide. They will not take the offer away from you. So slow your roll. It's better to be able to compare offers. And that's pretty much all I have. Any